guys, welcome to the recap, first one of the new year, first one of 2021. And I'm so excited to be back and starting a new year and starting a new series. We're going to be going through this series called Vibes. We're going to be talking about our moods and emotions and feelings. It's a really important thing to talk about because it doesn't get talked about enough in church. And so I'm really excited to start this series with you guys. So with that, we're going to dive in. And I think this is a really important series because we all have times in our lives where it can seem like our emotions and feelings just sort of take over, and we do and say things that we wouldn't normally do, or maybe you have a go-to song for whatever mood you might be in, right? There are certain styles of music that can make us feel a certain type of way, and so our emotions and moods can be affected greatly. And so we want to know kind of what God has to say about that. And what's interesting, and one of the things I love about Jesus is even if you're not a Christian or a follower of Jesus, Jesus gives some really good advice, and he talks about some things in really helpful ways, and he talks about sort of our inner life in this way as well. And Jesus grew up in a time where religion was king. You know, what you did and how you did it, what you ate, and all that stuff was really, really important to a lot of people. Well, one day he was having a discussion with people, and they were asking why his disciples weren't following sort of the rules of the land, right? They're not doing a certain thing that they were supposed to be doing. And Jesus responded with, "It's not what goes in a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out," which is a really, really interesting response. Because what Jesus is saying is like, look, you guys are paying attention to the wrong stuff, man. It doesn't matter what you eat or how you eat or whatever, but what comes out of you, that's what really matters. The way that you treat people, and the way you respond in emotional states, that matters. It matters to Jesus. And one of the things I love about Jesus is as Christians, we think that he was fully God, but he was also fully human. I mean, Jesus knew what it meant to live with emotions and to navigate those in intense moments. He knew what all that meant in just a very real way because he experienced it. He was fully human. In one of my favorite passages, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." And I think God wants you to know today, man, that he is not afraid of your emotions. And when we get into a mood or a state where we're just feeling some really bad vibes and we don't know what to do, we can come to him. When our emotions seem to take over and we do something that we know we shouldn't have done in an emotional state, we can come to him. When we're feeling all those really big feels, we can come to him and he will give us rest. He can give us a break from those things. He can carry our burdens. He is big enough and strong enough to help us in our times where we don't know where else to turn. And so I want you to know today that you can go to Jesus, and that looks different in different circumstances and for different people. For some of you guys, it might just be like trusting him for the first time in your life. It might be trying to talk to him for the first time in your life. For some of you guys, it's Bible reading or prayer or worship. However it looks for you, I want you to know that you can come to him with your emotions and your feelings, and you can be open and honest. So he knows how you feel. And because of Jesus, because of the way he lived, because of who he is, and the fact that we can come to him, we can live in a way where emotions don't have to be the boss of us. We don't have to be controlled by what we feel. Now, that's not to say feelings are bad. I don't want you to get that impression. Emotions are good. God created emotions, and they can be really helpful. But when we get into a state of living where we are letting our emotions control us, then it becomes unhealthy and it becomes really bad. And because of Jesus, we can live in a way where our feelings and emotions don't have to be the boss of us. We can listen to them and hear what they're trying to tell us, but we don't have to let them be the boss of us. Because at the end of the day, Jesus is a much better boss than our emotions anyways. And so there's a few ways that I'm going to give you guys to sort of start this process. Because for some of you, this is really easy. Talking about feelings and emotions, or thinking about feelings and emotions. For some of you, this might be really easy. For some of you guys, this might be just uncharted territory for you. And so we want to give you a few tools to start thinking about what you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, and then handing that over to God. So the first way is, right now, I just want you to think about, what are your top two emotions that you struggle to control the most? What are the two emotions that seem to take over and you have the hardest time with? And we all have them. Mine tends to be anger. That's an emotion that really can get to me. But we all have them. So what are yours? And then start to think about, why is it that you feel that emotion? What triggers that emotion? When you get that way, did somebody do something to you? Are you feeling a certain way? Is that emotion combined with something else that's going on? Start to check in with yourself. Start to identify the emotions that you feel the strongest, and give yourself some daily check-in times. Check in with, how are you feeling? Are you holding on to resentment? Did somebody say or do something to you earlier in the day that has really continued to affect your mood? Start to check in with yourself and think about why you are feeling the ways that you're feeling. And walk through those. Identify it. Speak it. Give it names. Say it out loud. And the second thing that you want you to do is to find somebody to talk to. Find a person that you trust to talk about your emotions with, whether it's a friend, a teacher, a pastor, a small group leader, a coach, a teammate. Like, find somebody that you trust and start to let them know what's going on. Because when we try and ignore emotions or push them aside, they only come back stronger and bigger and worse than when they started. So start to check in with yourself. Think about what you're experiencing, name things, and then talk to somebody else about them. Maybe for you, you don't have a trusted person, and Jesus can be the person that you talk to. But you got to start talking about it. And then finally, throughout this series and throughout your life, I want you guys to give yourselves grace. Everybody messes up with their emotions. Everybody has times where their emotions get the best of them. So if that happens to you and your emotions get the best of you, give yourself some grace. If you do something out of acting emotionally that you wouldn't normally do, give yourself some grace. God's doing it, so you can do it. And we should give other people grace too, understanding that we all struggle with our emotions sometimes. So there you have it. That's week one of emotions, of vibes, moods. It's a really good topic. I'm glad to be talking about it with you guys, and I look forward to the next few weeks as we dive into some specific emotions and what God says about those and how we handle those. So see you guys next week.